is a better way. As a dating guru and author of many women's profiles, and I mean that for real, I used to write women's profiles for them, I designed a new approach called the 1 week relationship. The rules are as follows. Total monogamy. That means you don't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No sex, 3 dates minimum, no getting to know each other through the phone or email. Let's just meet. After the first week, we can renew our contract or part ways as friends.
Okay. I like that. I think a lot of women would go for that because it shows a couple things. It shows you've thought about it. It shows that you want more than just a date, which a lot of women are like, they want to go out with me once and see if they can get any and then go out with again. And I like that it forces people together. Now, I'm going to read the rest of what you go. If you're wondering why you should consider this concept, which I think they're considering, it takes all the pressure off. It adds a little bit of pressure, but it probably takes more off because after a week, it's a conversation and we're either going to end it, we're agreeing to this, and you can make adjustments or whatever. It forces the initial commitment of 3 dates, which I always agree on. You should always at least do 2, and 3 is a good number. 1 date, people are nervous. People are a little out of sync. You really don't know each other enough to judge whether you like. I mean, if you fear for your life or you're totally repulsed by the person, I get it. But if at least you're willing to give this person a fair shot, I think means 3 dates. Also, on the first date, both people are probably acting about 50% of the time. Yeah, you're out with their publicist. That's about it. No worrying about the other person going on other dates, which is interesting because you're like, and again, if you have 8 dates lined up in a week, it's sort of like opening 8 bottles of wine. You're never going to really appreciate, you're never going to understand what you like about that person or all the wines. You really should date one person at a time. I say that all the time on this podcast. People think I'm crazy about that. But so you're committing for a week, 3 dates, and nobody's going to, you're going to have to, no cheating in this mini cheating. It forces immediate performance from both parties. So you got 7 days to make it work. So it's sort of a forced, it's like The Bachelor. It's like 90 Day Fiance. It's like, let's intensely see if we can push this forward. I like that. It eliminates the flakes, the one night stands, and the cyber squatters. Good.
Do you know what I mean by that? Because I had to look it up. It's the women or men who are on every single dating site who never respond to anybody's inquiries.
They don't. They just want a lot of, they just like playing the game.
They like the attention.
Yeah. It allows parties to experience the trust and beauty of monogamy even for just a week, which I like that. It builds confidence back up and it lets you build at least initial trust. It increases the chances that a friendship will result after contract expiration, which I also agree with because I think it's like we did this thing together. We went down this road. We had an experience. We shared an experience together. And people will remember that after it's gone.
It's almost like being in a movie together. Mm-hmm. Seriously, because we're doing this weird thing together, and it may not work out, but we're going to feel like we actually did something special, even if it doesn't.
You went on an adventure with a stranger.
An adventure for a week.
And so you finished this post with, it took me 10 years to realize what was wrong with dating, but I only figured it out yesterday. If you would consider me as your 1 week monogamous, no sex boyfriend, I would love to hear from you. Now, if I had to guess, I would say you got infinitely more responses than you did of your normal profile.
It wasn't a comparison. It was like a full mailbox. I felt bad because, you know, one of the other things that I've got a hang up with is I hate letting people down. Like you just met somebody and you're going to give that a go. And then somebody else comes in right behind them and is like, oh, I want in. Right. And you feel bad telling them no.
Well, then how did you deal with all these possibilities?
I said, Darcy, what I did was the first person who wrote me, I went on a date with, and that seemed to be going well enough that we entered into the, this came before the telling the woman to commit to a week. Yeah. So this came before that.
Okay. But so it was the first one who's like, yes, hand up.
Hand up.
That seems reasonable. but you
why not?
Well, I know. So, and then if it didn't work, you knew you could do this again in a week,
right?
Did you tell everybody, hold on a week?
Yes. Yes, there was always a backlog. Like it was like I hate to make a comparison to a restaurant, but it was like being Le Cirque. I mean, there was always a waiting list, and they also understood that you may never hear from me again if this works out. So,
but I think
there's no pressure.
I think they also would like that you are not dating them because you are committed to the person who somebody has this week. And I'm going to see how it works out. Because you could have been juggling 4 on the same week if you weren't honest about it.
No.
So I think they would like that.
Absolutely. No, everyone was so nice about it. And that was the difference between the old approach and this approach.
If two people liked each other on the second date and they knew they had a third date, you think the sex would cloud the judgment, or it's just about honoring the commitment of the week?
No, I think first of all, I don't think you could get to know somebody that quickly in most circumstances that you should go tampering with the rules before your 3 dates is up. I mean,
so it's just a matter of honor. You both agreed to the rules, and if you start twisting the rules, that's a bad thing for a relationship.
Right. Yeah. Even though eventually I did do that,
right.
But, it's just, how would you know how would you know if the person was sincere and that they didn't just want to bang you? You know?
That's true. I get that. And it's sort of, this is a really interesting concept because it is a bit of a commitment, no matter what. Anybody out there, try and give up whatever is a big deal in your life for even 1 week.
Go on a diet.
Give up your favorite TV show, put down your phone, whatever. Mm-hmm. A week can seem like forever, or a week can go by in a blink, but it really is somewhat of a commitment. It's a little bit of a social experiment, and it's an adventure with a stranger, and I think adventures with strangers on their own merits are interesting dates. It's a 1 week date chopped up into, a couple different tasks and activities, and I like it. I wish I thought of that.
But the other, well, you can take the concept and run with it if you want. Anyway, the other part I wanted to add as far as what you liked about it is even if this is some absolute total stranger you only met yesterday and they're sincere about doing this the right way, to feel like they are committed to you for a week makes you feel special. And that brings out things in you that you may not have ever knew were there.
Yeah,
in terms of positive qualities.
I agree. You're sort of cloaked in this. You're enveloped in this sort of bubble of trying together,
exactly,
and putting it. And let's do this together. That's why people do look for a workout partner, and they do look for a diet partner, and they do look for somebody to take a class with them together. And they do this. A date should be a bit of a journey. You're taking this like, here's what I want to do. We're going to do this for a week. I want to try this, and I think that does have a better shot. Put the monogamy aside. I'll make the argument some other time about or not monogamy. It's really about celibacy. Celibacy. So monogamy, it's just
monogamy and celibacy.
Celibacy. So the celibacy, take that aside. The idea of doing an adventure with a stranger is going to share and trust and do all the things that you really want to fast forward to in a relationship. I think that's good. I think that's a plus. I think that's a good idea. So you wrote the book after all of this?
No, I wrote the book while it was going on.
Oh, while it was going on. But you didn't write it as I have this dating. You didn't write it as a dating guru. You wrote it as what? Like, what was the purpose of writing it at the time? And not writing it as a dating how-to.
Well, okay, so we had to start off with the notes that this was written on were kept in real time. Mm-hmm. At first, I was really just looking for material to write a screenplay. I mean, I was sincere about what I was looking for in finding a relationship through monogamy, but I figured this would be interesting to look back and see what happened with a little bit of creative license.
Are you telling the women that you're documenting this?
Oh, absolutely. They were not only fully aware of it, they were reading it at the same time.
No. I had the opposite experience where women were like, are you asking me that because you care, or are you asking me this because you need material? And I'm like, a bit of both.
I needed both.
I was honest about that.
But it's like, I mean, if I don't write it down and you don't read it, you're not going to learn what I learned from our, failed experiment if it does fail.
So you're writing it in real time, not knowing the ending.
There wasn't an ending. There's no ending in sight. I just figured if I do this enough times, well,
if you're doing it eventually, if you're doing it enough times,
but the right way,
you felt like you were at least having positive experiences with dating.
Yes.
So didn't the end game of just because it didn't work out, you were feeling less hurt, you were feeling more fulfilled by your dates, and you were feeling at least I'm mentally and physically approaching dating better.
Absolutely.
So it put these sort of barriers up to make you date in a more positive direction.
Right. But then at one point, after, I don't know, the fifth or sixth time that it fell short, I started feeling burnt out a little bit. So then I did what you were suggesting earlier, which is, okay, let's stop looking for, happily ever after right now. Let's reel it in. That's the concept I speak of the heart mind. Reel it in, and let's just be okay as a single guy in Las Vegas. And I'm not even going to look around. I'm not even going to. I'm putting my profile on mute. And just by chance, that's when my wife and I finally met.
And another thing it does, and I know you bring this up too. It eliminates the flakes early on. If you can't, if you have this conversation, you decide we're going to do it, and then you can't commit, like your Wednesday falls through or the second day falls through, it's a lot easier to know that right now.
Right. And
sorry, you lost your game. Thank you for playing. Here's your parting gift. Goodbye.
Right. And in one instance, I did one of the contracts with a girl I had previously dated, who I had previously had flakiness issues with. And I went out with her one night and I explained the concept to her because, she was getting blown off left and right too because she was meeting flaky guys. Flaky people attract each other. And I said, let's just try this once. And it's okay because we're friends now. That's not going to change anything. And even knowing, how firm I am about, following my word and my honor, she still flaked. And, I was like, I'm glad I'm finding this out because any attraction I still had left for her from the first go around, that just ended. I'm like, okay, you are what you are. I'll stay your friend. But I'm not going to go to sleep wondering what went wrong. You just don't have it.
This is a reasonable, easy test bar. And, I think that's a good way to say, who would I like to date? I'm gonna commit to 3 dates with this person. And again, especially the women out there, if you feel unsafe or if you feel something was amiss and they were willing to do this but they were dishonest about something else, you don't do it with them, and you start over and you do it. But at least the mindset of let's take this adventure together, I really do think that has a chance of working.
And one other thing I was thinking about, I was like, asking myself the question, had I not put this out there on my profile to be read over and over and over, sometimes a dozen times by the same person before they contact me, would I have been able to spring this on somebody on their first date? And the answer is no.
Right.
If you're going to do something like this, you got to go for it and put it out there. I mean, it obviously didn't catch on or everyone would be doing it.
Right, but if you brought that up during the first date, hey, we're going to be monogamous for a week, they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
We just split an appetizer.
Exactly. And so, the other way I'd like to describe this is it skips over the getting to know each other part, because the getting to know each other part is the part where people have one foot in, one foot out at all times, and they're faking it half the time. They're not showing you their true selves. And there's no point in getting to know each other if